Hey guys, it's Sam, and welcome to Caps Lock, a podcast designed to help you live bigger, better, louder, and longer. Before we get started, I just want to thank you guys for listening and for giving this a chance and for coming here in pursuit of your best self. This is a space where we are going to grow together, and I hope it helps you go forward confidently, unapologetically, and with purpose. It's time to live your life in Caps Lock. If that mission feels aligned for you, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and let's dive in. I'm going to start today's episode with a little story time that is really fun. Last fall, I went to 2 bachelorette parties back-to-back 2 weekends in a row. The first weekend was at the beach in New Jersey. And we had one night of the trip where we just decided to all get dressed up and go out to dinner and go to a bar. The rest of the trip was very chill, but we had one kind of big girls' night out. And we went to this super beautiful bar that was right on the beach. And on our way in, there was a bouncer at the door and he was carding us, which we were so flattered by. And he asked for our IDs. And as we're standing there in the line, there were 20 of us. So it took a minute. And there was one of those easels that you see kind of at the entrance to a wedding or something. And it said that there was a welcome party for a wedding that night. So we asked the bouncer, are we crashing something? Why are you letting us in the bar? And he's like, oh, no. It the party already ended. People have just stayed and they're still drinking and we just haven't taken the sign down. We were like, oh, cool. So we go inside and we have these sort of scavenger hunt cards. I don't know. I've never seen them before, but they were really cute. They were basically each of us took one and then you have to do something silly at the bar and take a photo of it. So I'm hanging out with one of the brides and her card says you need to find another bachelor or bachelorette, another single person on their batch party, right? So we're in the bar and we're chatting with a group of people and we are telling them about the game and they think it's so funny. And they're like, oh, we're actually here with the wedding party from earlier. We just a couple of us stayed back and kept partying. And they point out the groom. Now I'm a girl's girl. So would I have preferred the bride? Totally. So, but they were there's a groom, grab him. So they're grabbing him and they're bringing him over and they're these girls need to take a picture with you because they're on a bachelorette party and they need another bachelor or bachelorette. And technically, since this is the wedding welcome party, you're still a bachelor. So we take a picture of the brides with the groom and we all get to talking. And I have 2 brides in the bachelorette party. They're marrying each other. They're gay. And the groom goes, wait, you guys are gay? I'm gay. And he calls his husband over. So then everyone's bonding and hanging out. It was just the cutest, most fun, serendipitous, fun little moment for all of us. So at the end of the night, we wish them well and everybody heads home. That's that. 5 days later, I go on my second bachelorette. This one is in the Bahamas. Completely different group of girls outside the country. There's no overlap between these bachelorette parties at all. So we land in the Bahamas, check into the hotel. Everyone goes to their rooms to change. And we're okay, everybody meet by the pool when you're ready. So by the time I get down to the pool, half of our group maybe is there. And someone goes, wait, Sam? And it's not someone from the group. We all traveled from New York together. And it was a man's voice. And I'm like, what? So I turn around. It was the grooms from their wedding in New Jersey. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? And they were like, we're on our mini moon. We've been here for a couple days. This is our last couple days before we go home. And it was just so random and so fun and silly and exciting. And we hung out all afternoon, found out they lived in New York City. So we exchanged numbers. And for the rest of the trip, we were meeting up with them at the casino, grabbing drinks, texting each other, where are you? We're at this part of the resort. Obviously, it was the universe, the universe wanted us to be besties. So like I said, we exchanged numbers and we promised to keep in touch. Now, obviously that is the most fun, random, serendipitous story ever. But 99% of the time, if you are lucky enough to experience some kind of fun miracle like that, you exchange numbers and you go home and nobody ever follows up. Maybe you'll text here and there, or you'll, like, follow each other on Instagram and, like, keep up with their lives from afar, but it's very rare that then you, like, go home and make plans to hang out with those people, or if it is, it's, like, the type where you say, "Oh my god, we should totally grab lunch," and then you literally never do. But here's the kind of person I am. I am effusive. I will tell you I love you and to text me when you get home safe, and I genuinely mean both of those things. I am a little cringe. Like, I'm not afraid of telling someone that I love spending time with them and that I wanna do it again, even though I know there's a chance that's, like, coming on a little strong. Um, and I'm the planner friend. Like, I always have a reservation, or I know about this, like, new place that just opened up, and I'm more than happy. Like, honestly, I'm thrilled to be researching a restaurant and making a plan down to the minute with, like, no help. All you have to do is show up. Like, that's the kind of friend and person I am. So instead of letting that amazing, fun, serendipitous friendship short story start and end in the Bahamas, I texted this couple when I got home and I was like, let's hang out. It definitely took playing some serious Tetris with our schedules, but we managed to plan it and we only rescheduled it one time. And in fairness, like Matt had COVID, so like we allowed it. And then we actually met up and had dinner and had, like, the best night ever. We went to Lure. Like, if you live in New York, you know how much a girl loves Lure. We had 100 martinis. We ate sushi all night. And when we got there, you guys, when we sat down, they, out of their pockets, pulled out koozies and matches from their wedding because they were like, "Well, we wanted you to have it because, like, we didn't know you before, but we kinda met you during, and now we wish you were there." The way I got choked up, you guys, I still have my koozie and my matches. It was, like, the most thoughtful little gift. It made me so happy. And then these guys ended up being only, like, the second friend hangout I ever brought my boyfriend to. Um, After I had, like, the very first one was a triple date with my 2 childhood best friends and, like, their boyfriend and fiancé. And this couple, Matt and Brian, were the second friend hang that I ever brought my boyfriend to. We got brunch at American Bar. It was so fun. When the Super Bowl started, they were my first text, Matt and Brian, because Matt is, like, the biggest Birds fan, and he actually went to go see the Super Bowl in NOLA. Go Birds. So, listen, I have been so blessed in my adult life with many new friendships, and I get asked so often in my DMs how to make new friends as an adult because most of your life, you're friends with people sort of like by coincidence. Like in your childhood, your friends are like your neighbors and the other kids in your class, and everyone's parents set up play dates for you. And then when you're a teenager, you add on to that like sports and extracurriculars. And then when you're in college, it's like you start adding on like who's in your dorm and who's in your sorority or fraternity or whatever, like club. But kind of the moment you graduate and you're like thrust out into the real world, you are existing for the first time in your entire life without any kind of formal infrastructure for socializing. And it is so, so easy to completely isolate. Back when everybody worked in an office, it was a lot easier for your social media to be like fulfilled. And I actually have a hot take about this. I think everyone should have returned to office full time after COVID, but I don't want to like start World War III. So I'm just going to like leave my hot take there. But if you agree, let me know because I think it messed up a lot of people's lives and they don't even realize it. Like everyone thinks that it's such a gift that we can do laundry in the middle of the day, but I actually think it's making a whole generation of people like depressed. We'll talk about it another time. But anyway, now that so many of us work from home or in like some kind of hybrid situation, I think it's easier than ever to feel lonely and isolated. And besides that, regardless of where you work, people get so stuck in the grind and like so lost in all their commitments and responsibilities that they often find themselves doing one of two things. The first is like they don't even think they're missing anything, but they also don't really feel any like excitement or anticipation or fulfillment or like anything really like special about their week. And I have an episode coming out soon with the founder of Remedy Place. It's like a recovery, like sauna, cold plunge, IVs, like hyperbaric chambers, that kind of stuff. His name is Dr. Jonathan Leary. He's so smart. I can't wait to share that episode with you guys. But something he said to me in the episode stuck with me so hard. And I've been like bringing it up in so many different scenarios and contexts because I think it applies to literally almost everything. And he was like, people don't really think about it, but there's no upper limit on how good you can feel. And I think that is something that's kind of related to this. Like, so many people don't even realize that they're like missing new friendships in their adult life, but they also don't feel that kind of like special, like excitement that comes with spending time with a friend or making a new friend. And so I feel like there might be no upper limit, and these people are like not even considering it. And then the second thing that people do is they think they're too busy and they like couldn't possibly add something quote unquote unnecessary to their calendar. But I think having fun when you're not thinking about work, not thinking about your responsibilities, I think that's completely necessary. And I actually think that meeting new people is necessary for expanding your point of view and for just like bringing joy to your life. I think it's really important for like personal development to have a social network of all different people from different places. And also, interestingly, it helped me get out of my sort of like unproductive rut. Like everyone thinks they're too busy, they couldn't possibly add unnecessary like social engagements to their calendar. But I did you guys know, if you are weekly listeners, that like I just recently did an episode about being productive and like getting out of the kind of cycle of procrastination because that's how I was feeling. And a lot of these episodes, when I write them and record them for you guys, it's a result of what's going on in my life. Like I share it with you as I learn it because it's like what I'm going through right now. And I am learning ways to make my life bigger and better. And I just want to share that with you. And so, you know that I was in a really unproductive, like, stressed out rut where I felt like I was spinning my wheels, like I couldn't get anything out the door, even though I was working like 24 hours a day. But interestingly, last week, I think part of what I was feeling kind of yucky about in my life was I was always working and never spending time with my friends. And like a lot of the time when I was even like spending time with my boyfriend, which like I see him every single day, it was like we would come home at night from work and be like so tired and just like eat dinner and like go to bed. And then we like go to the gym in the morning and we like sometimes sort of work out together, but like not really because we're like always on different days and like we do different things. And so like I just felt like I wasn't really socializing. So last week I added in a couple of social engagements. I had 2 weeknight dinners, I had weekend plans, and I texted some other friends and made plans for a couple weeks from now. And all last week, you guys, I was so productive and like getting my shit done because I knew every single day, like I need to be done by like 6 p.m. today so I can shower and go to my whatever it is, my dinner or my like drinks meeting with my friend. And honestly, it really helped me get out of my unproductive rut. So I really challenge you if you think you're too busy to like make an investment of your time in forming new friendships or like investing in spending time with acquaintances. I really urge you to reconsider that because, I mean, people are busy, right? I'm fucking busy. But I actually felt like it helped kind of light a fire under my ass. Like it really helped structure out my day and it made a huge difference for me. Anyway, so today we are going to talk about how to make friends as an adult. And this episode is really for anyone who moved to a city where they don't know anyone, anyone who's in a splinter era and is in like a different phase of life than a lot of your friends. Maybe you're like the single friend and all your friends seem to be in relationships and like they're always hanging out with their partner and you feel like you like can't get your friend quality time in. Or really for anyone who just wants to expand and deepen their social circle for a multitude of reasons. Like, even if you are completely happy and fulfilled, but you think you might benefit from making new friendships. And spoiler, I really think that is totally the case for every single person on this planet. Like, I think everyone could benefit from making new friends. Another thing, someone texted me recently and was like, hey, I just like texted your episode to someone and she was like, I had never really thought to do that, but there are some really good shareable moments in this episode. So I texted it to someone. She was like, you should start telling people to share it so they remember to do it. So this is your formal reminder. I think this is a great episode to share with your existing friends, because there are a lot of tips here that you can do with your existing friends to, like, as a group, expand your social circle. So, oh, and also fun fact, I think this is on Spotify. I don't know if it's on any of the other platforms, but at least on Spotify, if you're listening to a podcast and you stop it at, say, minute like 7 and 30 seconds, and then you pause it there and then you text it to someone, it opens for them at minute 7 and 30 seconds. So, like, I was listening to my own podcast a few weeks ago and I came across a spot where I mentioned one of my workout instructors and I texted it to him and I was like, oh my God, like, gave you a shout out. And he was like, whoa, I just clicked on this and it opened up to you saying my name. Like, that's crazy. And that's how I discovered that happens. So, whenever you find something in this episode that you think is valuable, definitely share it with your friends because I think there are a lot of things here that can be done as a group effort. And I think that actually can kind of multiply the effects of it. So, anyway, stay with me. Let's do it. I have this sort of theory that I'm sure I didn't invent, right? Like, we don't have original thoughts. It's by no means some like revolutionary idea, but nonetheless, I came to it on my own and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And I've decided that I think it's really valuable. So I want to share it here. I mentioned earlier that throughout your early life, basically up until you stop going to school, you make friends with people mostly by accident. And that accident is mostly where you live, which you don't have that much control over before the age of 18, most of us, right? Think about it. Like at school, unless you went to like a boarding school, everyone lived either in your town or near your town. Your sports teams were regional or local. Your first new friends in college were probably your roommate or like whoever lived in your same dorm, which you might have been able to choose, but there was no way of really knowing who else would end up there. So, my working theory is that in our youth, our friendships are based on proximity, like how close together we live. And then in adulthood, our friendships are based on values. This also explains why we sort of shed friends as we get older. A lot of times you can tell when a friendship was really just like based on proximity to each other because as you get older, you grow apart or have a falling out or lose touch. And that is totally normal, but it is most often just because you don't have a ton in common because like you don't prioritize or value or spend your time on the same things. But in my opinion, the best and most successful friendships are most often based on both values and proximity. In other words, like the origin of the friendship is rooted in your values, what's important to you, what you prioritize, how you show up in your life, how you spend your time. And then the continuation and sustainability and endurance of that friendship is due to proximity, like how frequently you're able to see each other, which gives you constantly new things to talk about, ongoing opportunities to connect and grow closer, promises that can be kept to build trust over time. And just like a heads up that throughout the episode, I'll probably use the words proximity and frequency kind of interchangeably throughout the episode because they're in this context, they're basically I'm saying the same thing. Like, you living near someone, you're probably gonna see them a lot more, versus, like, someone who lives on the other side of the country, right? Like, you're not gonna see them as much. So, pretty much everything I'm about to tell you, all the sort of occasions and strategies for making new friends are rooted in values, but you'll see kind of where proximity comes in for each category, and I'm gonna break it down into, first, a larger section, which is all about, like, where and how to meet these people. I have 7 different recommendations for that that are, like, not bullshit. Like, these are good fucking ideas, and I'm gonna start doing them myself, the ones that I haven't already been doing. And then there's gonna be a second, smaller section, which is just a little bit about how I think you should carry yourself and kind of the mindset you need to be in and how you can approach people in a way that results or like is more likely to result in friendship. So let's hit it. First way to meet new friends. And this is like the big obvious one, but I'm gonna give you so many ideas. This is to have hobbies. You need to have hobbies. Now, hobbies are not just for being social. They can build your self esteem, they encourage personal development, they make you more well rounded. But to the extent that you are incorporating them as part of your kind of social journey, they do two different things. The first is they make you the type of person that you would want to be friends with, right? Like they make you interesting, they make you cool, they give you stuff to talk about. And the second thing that they do is they can be really social and they can introduce you to new people who share common interests or passions with you. So there are two kind of umbrella categories in here. I'm putting fitness as its own whole category because there's like so much here to talk about. And then there's like not fitness hobbies. So the fitness one, I think the fitness community is one of the healthiest, most supportive, most social, friendliest communities I have ever been a part of. And I can say with pretty much 100% certainty that movement and like being outdoors and sweating is healthy for everyone. Like, I don't really feel like that's a controversial statement. Also, when you are doing something physical with someone else, I really should have looked up some science to back this up, but I'm pretty sure there is research out there to support that when you're doing something physical with someone else, it bonds you closer. So that's just an interesting tidbit about fitness. I have met some of my best friends through fitness. If you follow me on Instagram, you know my bestie Maddie, who I literally post with all the time. I don't know if you know how we met, but she started out as my trainer. Like when you join Equinox, you get a free personal training session and they just assign you to a trainer based on your profile, like your age, gender, interests, like what you're trying to do in the gym. And they literally matched us together. And we did a session. And then I bought a pack of sessions so we could keep doing them because I was enjoying them. And then we became besties. And then you all know that I'm obsessed with Rumble, which is like boxing hit workout. I met my really good friend Allie there. We had both been going to Rumble just over and over and over for years and seeing each other all the time. And one day she was like, "Hey, I really want to try this other workout class and all my friends are really intimidated and like don't want to go with me. Would you be down to go sometime?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's like the coolest thing anyone's ever asked me. I'm honored." And I was so excited to go. And we started out just like trying other workout classes. And now we're really good friends. So the gym can be a little bit of an intimidating place to meet people. And also, like, not everybody wants to be approached at the gym. But classes are a really good way to make your fitness social. So, some other like fitness opportunities to make friends, or like types of fitness, or places where I think it's good to make friends. Run clubs, very popular in New York. I feel like they really had a moment in the last year. And if you follow me on social, you know I just went on my first run ever the other day. So I'm about to become completely fucking insufferable for everyone in the world. But people love run clubs. A lot of people are making friends and also dating people from run clubs. So that's kind of sexy. If you're not into running, but you do like the idea of being outside, hiking clubs are a thing. And I think this is really cool. And I really want to do this because I don't think we get enough nature in New York. This is a soliloquy I could go on at any time. I don't think we're outside enough, really. And if we are outside, it's a lot of like concrete and metal, which is fine. Like the sun is good for you. But I would like to see some more grass, maybe some trees, some wildlife. So I think I'm going to be maybe doing some hiking this spring and summer. Maybe I'll start a hike club. Another idea, outdoor workouts or special events, like special fitness events. So, for example, last year over Labor Day weekend, my agency organized an event for Rumble out in the Hamptons. We did it at the Montauk Yacht Club and we just like spread the invite far and wide and people came and we did a bodyweight Rumble class outside in the sun on the water. The Montauk Yacht Club, in case anyone was wondering, is like the most beautiful place on earth. Like I think when you die, if you like get the green light to go to heaven, that's where you end up. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I met some girls there who I like followed on Instagram and like we stay in touch now. Like that is a really fun way to do it because that was an organized group event. Fitness, you're doing something to like make yourself a better person. And it's very social. Like everyone afterwards was like hanging out. We had bacon, egg, and cheeses. Everyone's like eating, talking, having coffee. So those are places that are very social and you can always meet people. Another idea, and this is so funny to me, but like sick, you can join like local kind of like intramural sports teams. This is something I had not considered ever doing. I think it entered kind of my world when it was pickleball because I'm a racket sports girl. Like I grew up playing tennis, but I was like, wait, there are definitely people who like join like club soccer teams. And lo and behold, I have several friends who are playing club soccer like once a week with a group that of strangers that they didn't know before. The way one of my friends did it, she literally was walking past and saw a group of girls playing soccer and she was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, are you guys like a team or like can I play with you?" And they were like, "Yeah, like literally we just come here every Tuesday at 7 p.m." And now she plays every single week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. So definitely look into that. Another thing I think people like don't think about because this is like a very old like white dude behavior, but you can join like a country club or a racket club. This is expensive, so I understand why it's like a little bit prohibitive, but if you're really into racket sports, for example, like in New York, there are a couple different padel clubs. If you have not played padel, you are missing the fuck out. That is such a fun sport. It's somewhere in between platform tennis and pickleball. Like, it's fast. It's not easy the way pickleball is. It's a little bit more intense like platform tennis, and it's so fun, and the clubs in New York are literally beautiful, and you can literally just, like, pay a monthly membership and book your court time and, like, meet strangers, and if you don't have a group of 4, they will like, say you're a group of 2 or you're a group of 3 or you're just a single, you can go to the people there and be like, "Hey, I wanna play this week." Like, send out a message, and they send out, like, a blast to their people, and they're like, "Hey, one person looking to play on Thursday, like, if there are 3 people who are interested in joining or, like, a group of 2 and a single, like, let us know and we'll pair you guys up." Like, that is such a fun way to meet people, and if you're a member somewhere, you're going there regularly, so you have a lot of, like, repeat interactions with people. And then the last kind of fitness thing that I think is a really fun way to meet people is to sign up for a race or competition that you have to train for. So, for example, like High Rocks comes to New York in the summer. You could do the New York City Marathon. And then not only are you doing a really cool, amazing thing for yourself and for your body, but there are a lot of like training programs that are specifically for those types of competitions. Like there was a High Rocks gym that you could go train at. So I think fitness is an amazing way to meet people. I have made tons and tons of incredible friends that way. And also, I think you always like feel good about what you're doing because you're doing something that's good for you that is literally scientifically proven to make you happier. And it's very social. So I think those are like really good ways to do it. Now, the other kind of thing, which I mentioned earlier, is like non fitness hobbies you can totally have. I have like my favorite types of non fitness hobbies are classes. So I'm mostly about to recommend classes for you because I don't know. I think it's something about like it's partly movement for sure, and it's also partly, like, learning something new with strangers that I think bonds you. There's something about being like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it's almost, like, a little bit embarrassing to try something brand new. Everyone's kind of walls are down because, like, you're doing this brand new thing and like, you might even suck at it, who cares? But you're there socializing with new people, and I just think it's, like, the coolest thing ever to try something new for the first time, especially as an adult. So, some ideas for this. My mom, she started taking an art class recently. I thought that was so cool of her. Like, she's always loved painting and drawing and, like, whatever. She's very creative and she's really good at it, like, naturally. And, she recently hurt her back, so she hasn't been able to go to the gym and go to Rumble as much as she usually does. And so she was kind of looking for a new hobby to kind of fill that hole, and she started going to art class, and she's made a bunch of new friends. I went to pick her up at art class the other day in New Jersey, so we could go to dinner, and she was, like, hanging out with her friends, and I was like, "I don't wanna interrupt, ladies." Like, it was so cute. And I think an art class is really like, could also be a really nice creative outlet for those of you who feel like you're missing that in your, like, day to day. Some more ideas that I have not personally tried, but I not all of them, I've tried 1 or 2 of them, but I know people who have tried every single one of these, and some of them I'm looking into as we speak. So one is language classes. Je parle français. I speak French for anyone who doesn't know that about me, but I only speak it, like, okay. Le Coucou downtown has French language classes, which I didn't know about. I don't know if they still do them. I looked them up, like, last year or something, and they still had them. But I think I'm gonna go to an in-person French class. Having conversation with people in a different language is better for learning it, and then also you're, like, making friends who are also interested in learning French, like, that's so fun. So language classes, pottery classes, I told my boyfriend we're signing up for this, I'm obsessed, like, that sounds so fun for me, and now that I'm in my short nails era, I can actually pull it off. Cooking classes. I love to cook. I think a cooking class is a great idea. I would actually look somewhere almost like more legit, like a culinary school or something, because the point of these classes is that they're recurring events, like you go once a week or something. Another one, writing classes. A friend of mine did like an 8-week writing workshop, and she was like, it was so good for me as like a creative outlet. She felt like it made her a better writer. And you spend 8 weeks going to classes with these other people. And she made a bunch of friends that way. They're still friends. Another one is dance classes. I grew up doing ballet, and now that I live uptown, I definitely wanna go check out, like, the dance studios. When you're on Instagram and you're scrolling, you see those, like, sick hip hop classes at that studio, that one studio in LA. I know you know what I'm talking about. We have a bunch of those in New York too, fun fact, and they literally have a class for people who have never danced before in their lives. So, like, do not tell me that you're not good enough for that. I think I'm gonna start going again because I think it would be good for my body and my brain, and also I wanna make friends. Anyway, in my opinion, hobbies, like all of these things I just gave you as ideas, are value based in 2 ways. Number 1, if you actually care about the hobby or the skill itself, like that's a value. Like I value moving my body. I value sweating and getting stronger. So like fitness is a great hobby for me because I value it inherently. But the second thing also is like even if you don't care about the actual activity, I think just like starting a new hobby shows that you just like value trying new things and challenging yourself. And again, in terms of like proximity and frequency, all of these hobbies require repeat appearances. Like they're not one and dones. You can't learn to cook in an hour. I think starting a class, you can literally just look up like classes in like skill classes in my city. And so many come up, you guys. I did that Google search and it was literally too much to like write down. But it seems like I think it's a really good way to meet people. And I also think it'll make you a cooler and better person. So pick up a hobby. That was a really long one. Sorry. Okay. Number 2, hosting. I have 2 ideas for this. The first one, I'm confident that I'm not the first person to think of this, but I'm absolutely going to be doing it. And I'm going to do it through Caps Lock so that all of you guys can participate because I think this is so sick and so fun. And I don't know why more people are not just like already doing this with their friends. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to invite a friend, someone you're not like best friends with, ideally, because what you don't want is to be butt buddies with someone. I would like it to be like maybe a tier 2 or 3 friend. And I want you to text them and be like, hey, I'm organizing a dinner. The idea is to like make new girlfriends and meet new cool people. So I'm going to invite you and I would like for you to come. Here's the date and time. Let me know if you can make it. Once that person confirms, it is then their job to invite a tier 2 or 3 friend of theirs who you don't know to join the dinner. And then it is that person's job, once they confirm their availability, to invite a 4th person who's a tier 2 or 3 friend of theirs to come and join the dinner. And the idea is that like, I don't even know the 3rd person coming on this dinner. There's no way I know the 6th person coming on this dinner. But there is like a 7 degrees of separation element here. You know what I mean? And I want you to limit this dinner, if you're ever doing this with your friends, to like 6 or 8 people. I think maybe 6 would be a good group number because then you're like able to really talk to each person and get to know them a little bit more. When you're in a big group, there like a couple things happen. Like one, you kind of tend to like section off with like the person you either know the best or like are connecting with the best. And then it's just like the 2 of you. And also I feel like you like don't really get to, even if you did talk to everyone, you don't get to be as like intimately learning about them. I think you should do this with your friend group. I'm going to do it with my friend group. I think it's cool and fun. And then the second idea for hosting is to have a random like activity-based girls' night in. Doesn't have to be girls, but like that's just GNI, whatever. I think this is like usually the most fun when you invite up to like maybe 3 friends besides yourself and everyone brings someone kind of new, like again, like a tier 3 friend maybe. Small groups are elite. That's how you get to know people. I don't know if that sounds weird to someone like hearing it, like come to this stranger's house you've never met with other strangers you've never met, but people are so much more open to this than you think they are. I literally met someone in like 2 weeks after being like kind of like loose friends. I was like, hey, do you want to like come out with me and my friends? She was like, fuck yeah. And now we're really good friends. This is, I think more people than you think are experiencing this same thing of like, I want to make new friends, but I don't know like a non-weird way to go about it. I mean, think of why I'm doing this episode. I've gotten like hundreds of DMs over the last like couple years saying like, I feel like I don't make new friends anymore now that I'm a grown up and I need to know how. So I think people are really more open to this than you anticipate. But some ideas for what your like activity could be. It could literally be as simple as a pregame, but you could also do game nights. There are so many fun games to play that are not super nerdy. A lot of them are nerdy, like whatever, lean in, like be fucking weird. It teaches you about people. You could do paint and sip nights. It's very relaxing, it's creative, it's chill. The last idea, which I'm also gonna do, I'm really ambitious. I've said I'm gonna do every single thing on this list, but I just like am feeling so inspired, is start a book club, or if you're not into reading, a fucking TV show or movie club. I don't know why everyone's like, "Oh, I don't read, can't have a book club." Okay, have a movie club. Watch a fucking movie once a week. That's literally 2 hours of your life. You could do it. You could even watch it all together. I don't know. That sounds really fun. Sounds like a slumber party to me. Like, that sounds great. Now, this will come up a couple times throughout the episode, but I think that anything where you are meeting someone through mutual friends shows shared values because you already like love someone in common, right? Like if you both like this one person, chances are you're going to have other things in common too. And maybe it sounds hard to plan a standing date or anything with like any kind of frequency when it comes to that many people's different schedules. But I recommend you try having a standing date and never move it. Like whoever can come comes and you genuinely like every week try to prioritize it or like every month or like whatever it is. And you just try to prioritize it. Like it honestly, it's not that hard to not double book yourself. Okay, number 3 way to make friends through your relationship. Or if you have kids, you can make friends through your kids. Become friends with your partner's friends and your partner's friends' partners. I have made friends with so many of my boyfriend's friends' girlfriends. Love them. They're amazing. And again, like makes sense. All the boys are friends and all these girls love these boys. Of course we're going to love each other. Like that's so fun. And then like if you have kids, you're more likely than not to have a ton in common with some of the other parents. These are value-based friendships for the same reason I shared earlier. You have mutual friends or priorities. And then they're also proximity and frequency-based because you already have, or you can like easily create opportunities to see each other. Birthday parties, double dates, play dates, like you name it. Okay, way number 4 to make friends. This is going to be controversial. Going out. I think you should be going out. However, there's a caveat. Like there's a specific kind of version of going out that I'm going to recommend. First thing is bars over clubs because you can interact more casually and actually talk to people and hear them talk back to you. Does that mean I don't like a club? No. I'm queen of dance floor. But I think for making friends, bars are way better than clubs. And now here's the caveat and subcategory is you should do this for like activity-based, interest-based, or almost even like theme sort of nights. And that sounds so tacky. I'm going to explain. Like we're not talking like ladies' night at the bar where drinks are like, well, drinks are $6. Ew, don't be, that's weird. These are things like trivia nights, which, okay, if you think that's nerdy, you haven't been to a good trivia night. That shit is so fun. If you think that's nerdy, moving on. You can go to, this is so fun for, in my opinion, because of being a nerd, there are literally like game bars. There's a bar called Hex & Co. in New York City where they literally have just like stacks and piles of board games, word games, all kinds of different games that you just go, you have a beer, and you play them with your friends. That is so fun to me. I think that's so fun. And it maybe you go with a small group of friends on purpose, and then you pick a game on purpose that requires a lot of players. And then on purpose, you go talk to people and you're like, hey, are you guys a group of 3? Do you want to play this game with us? I'm sorry, that's a meet cute for friends. Here are the 2 that I actually like the best. And they are watch parties. I know there were bars doing this when Vanderpump was airing Scandival, and everyone who was invested in Vanderpump was like going to this one bar and doing like watch parties. And during commercial breaks, they would do like trivia or like contests or like discussion or panels or stuff, which is so cute. And people were loving it. And then the other one that I really love is it's a thing called Lectures on Tap. I found this on the internet. It's basically educated, smart experts in their field host like a discussion, like a lecture about a really niche topic at a bar on weeknights. And you can buy like a ticket for like $35 and it includes a drink from the bar and you can go and learn about something. I told my boyfriend, we're doing this for a date. Like, why is this not more widely publicized? Anyway, going out as a genre is usually less value-based. I do think there are going out people and staying in people, and those can reflect values, but most of us are somewhere in between. But I have sometimes found it easier to socialize and be like brave about approaching strangers in group settings like this. I have made friends at Super Bowl watch parties, at my girlfriend's birthday parties, shit like that. Okay, number 5, volunteering. Guys, we're not volunteering enough. Also, I want to talk about that maybe another time a little bit deeper, but the bottom line that I want to share right now is that I don't think we're volunteering enough. Be volunteering in a soup kitchen, be volunteering in a donation center, at an animal shelter. This is hands-on. It requires teamwork. You will meet other people. It's automatically value-based. Obviously, you would not be volunteering for a cause you do not give a fuck about. And setting up volunteer hours is usually not a one-time thing. Oftentimes, you'll be able to figure out a set amount of hours per month and like you sign up for shifts. And I just want to like note something. Please don't do this just around the holidays. Shelters and soup kitchens and donation centers, they need your help all year round. And I think like we sometimes are feeling really giving during the holidays, and that's amazing. There's never a bad time to volunteer, but sometimes those organizations can actually get overwhelmed during the holidays, and it's really can make things more difficult for them operationally. And then they have really big dry spells kind of in like the other months of the year when they're not getting as many volunteers. So think about that. Number 6, this is a slightly weird one, but I know it'll work for a bunch of you because I know you. And you can make friends through your favorite influencers. Hear me out. Influencers get a really bad rap, but the good ones don't just give you inspo or do weird trends or like dance on the internet all day. Okay. The original meaning of the word influencer is really about like community building. It is developing and growing a community of people who share the same interests or values as you. So this is literally the most organic way to make friends I can think of. I'm just going to rattle off some examples. Lindsay Metzler from We Met at Acme, she does dating events all the time or like singles events. So fun. Tinks, she does rich mom walks in all different cities. Mel Robbins, she's doing a live tour. Guess what? I'm going to go to the live tour and I'm going to talk to random girls in the audience. Okay. Margot Lee, she has a journal called No Particular Order. She does journaling workshops. Roxy Nafusi, manifestation expert. She does manifesting workshops. Aliza Kelly, she has astrology and tarot community meetings, right? There are so many different influencers who take their craft, their skill, their interest, their hobby, their whatever it is, and they bring it into real life and give you an opportunity to do it with other people who also like that in real life. And now I'm going to plug myself. I'm going to do this all the fucking time. And we don't really have a niche. I mean, like, I guess wellness is our niche, right? But I apply wellness to this podcast in a way that is like very kind of loose because I think there are so many different ways to practice wellness. Like, I think you can have financial wellness. I think you can have mental health and physical health. I think you can eat well, but I also think that you can navigate your relationships in a healthy way, right? And so the events that we're going to start putting on, they're going to start in 2025, probably in the spring. They are going to be workouts. We're going to do Rumble. We're going to do berries. I'm going to probably like try to call Army, do an Army workout. We're going to do Soto method. We'll do workshops. We're going to do manifestation workshops. We're going to do self-reflection workshops. Maybe we'll do a journaling workshop because, journaling changed my life. We'll do live recordings where you guys can come and sit and hang, and I will do this into a microphone and like talk to you at the same time. I think I want to organize some races now that I'm an insufferable running freak. I want to organize a 5K. So I'm actually talking to some brands right now about organizing that for the spring, girly. So race me in a 5K. And by that, I mean beat me in a 5K. We'll do coffee meetups. We're doing panels. Like, we're working on so much behind the scenes that I think you guys are going to love. So I think this is going to be a really good community hub. And I really am excited to like bring it IRL. Anyway, what all of these influencers are doing is value-based because they integrate hobbies and activities, but also kind of like sort of like with the thing about mutual friends, you will meet very like-minded people if you go to a place where like everyone follows the same influencer and like likes the same shit. So think about that. Now, I'm going to kind of blow through these next two because this is turning out to be a really long episode and they don't have as much of the element of frequency or proximity. But nonetheless, I've met friends this way, and I also know a bunch of people who have met their friends this way. So number 7 is travel. Wait, do I have 8 things? Oh, no, it's travel, but I've sectioned it into 3 things. Okay, so I just counted wrong. Moving on. I'm going to blow through this last one. Travel, one option. Weddings. This is funny, I know, but there are a lot of elements of frequency here, so I think it's actually a really good idea. Weddings these days have a lot of events, so you might have multiple touch points throughout the weekend. You're going to have welcome drinks, right? You're going to have maybe a rehearsal dinner or like something the night before. You're going to have the wedding. Maybe you'll have a farewell brunch. You're seeing these people for literally like 48 hours in a row. So there are elements of frequency there. Meeting people in the beginning and introducing yourself and putting yourself out there early on makes it more fun to be on the dance floor. You'll just know more people. And then also it gives you more of a foundation if you want to stay in touch afterwards. Oftentimes the bride and groom organize tables with some sort of like common thread. Like at a wedding I went to this past spring, I was seated between a girl I had met like 1 or 2 times through the bride, and then like the only other person at the wedding that I was actually friends with. And it was so fun because that now I like stay in touch with like one of the other girls at the wedding, and like all these people, we like all followed each other on Instagram from my table. Like it was a whole group of single girls at this table, and it was so fun. And then also, like, if the bride and groom live in your city, you'll likely find a lot of other people who live in your city too. Oh, bonus, bachelorette parties. I met one of my really good friends, another girl named Allie, on a bachelorette parties, and we're bachelorette party, and we're still friends. That's so fun. Okay. The second thing within travel is solo travel. I know it sounds like an oxymoron because you're literally going by yourself, but I have a couple friends who've done this and met their partner or made a whole group of friends from it. I'm not sure I'm this brave, but I kind of did the light version when I studied abroad. Like all my friends went to one place and I went somewhere different. And I ended up leaving that with a group of like 5 or 6 girlfriends who I cherish and love. So I don't know. I think it's cool if you're brave enough to do it. I think what I'm about to say next also applies to every single thing I mentioned in this episode, but it really applies here. This is scary and intimidating, right? But all it takes is one moment of bravery to get the ball rolling. And of course, there will be other moments of bravery needed to keep it going. But if you look at them each separately as just one little moment of bravery, it doesn't seem all that intimidating. Okay, and the third one in travel is go on retreats, guys. This sounds like Couples Retreat, the movie. I'm not talking about like becoming swingers, but like if that's you, do you. But I'm talking about something like surf yoga beer. So surf yoga beer, you literally pay a flat fee, book a spot online on a trip, and it's like a wellness trip. And you go and they like have workouts, they have parties. It's not like woo, it's really fun. Like they go like surfing in Costa Rica and, you know, hiking in the mountains of Peru. Like they do crazy shit. And the trips are beautiful and cool and fun. And a lot of people like meet their best friends there. That kind of thing just really fosters intimacy. It forces you to get to know each other really quickly. Anyway, we're almost done here. So now that we know where to go meet new people and like why those are good ways to do it, I want to talk very briefly about approaching people because that can be intimidating, but it is absolutely crucial if you actually want to make friends. Instead of like repeatedly taking the first step to make the plans, but then not actually taking the leap of putting yourself out there when you have the opportunity. Like it's one thing to like book the trip. It's another to like once you're on the trip, like go and approach people. So re-upping what I said a minute ago, there are basically 2 points of bravery in the pursuit of making new friends. Number 1 is when you make the plan, right? Like booking your spot on the retreat, buying tickets to the influencer event, signing up for the outdoor workout. And the second point of bravery is when you get there and you realize that you have to be outgoing in order to make the friends. But that's it. 2 moments. And I genuinely mean moments because like the hardest part is like the 3 seconds before you introduce yourself to a stranger. And I think anyone in the world can overcome 2 moments of insecurity, 2 moments of uncertainty, and highly recommend using the Mel Robbins 5-second rule if you have to. Like count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go do the scary thing. I know you can. So here are my recs for how to approach people to make new friends once you take the leap of putting yourself in the right places. And there are 5, but I'm going to be quick about it. Number 1, initiate. Be the first one to do it. Initiate and do the 2 seconds of bravery. Use the 5-second rule. You don't need to have anything interesting or funny or witty to say. If you need to, you can ease in with a compliment. Everyone loves a compliment. Make it a thoughtful one. Not like, oh man, you look so pretty. Like, shut up. Tell me you love my like fucking weird shoes because I love my weird shoes. And if you compliment them, I know that we're the same. Or just like raw dog it. Hey, I'm Sam. It's my first time doing this workout. Have you been here before? That's a really easy conversation starter. Works every time. Anytime someone does this to me, and I think most girls would do the same, I instantly take that person under my wing. I will, like, hang out with them and chat with them before, during, after the activity or workout class or whatever it is. So, initiate. Do the 5-second rule, do 2 seconds of bravery, and introduce yourself. Number 2, show interest. Ask questions, and more importantly, actually, ask follow-up questions. It shows that you are listening. It is a good way to find things in common, and it shows that you care about relating to them and care about the same things and care about what they care about. Important, try to remember the basics of what they tell you, because I have found that the little things go a long way. I don't know, it just makes me feel so good when I tell someone something and then, like, offhandedly in passing, and then a month later, it's my birthday, and, like, maybe they got me that, like, candy I mentioned that I really love that one time. Like, that's the nicest thing ever, and it makes you feel loved and warm and fuzzy inside, so be that person for someone else. Number 3, be warm. This is kind of a funny one. This is a fine line, and it can be a little bit hard to distinguish, but I feel like it's similar to being genuine and enthusiastic, but it has sort of like a grounding presence element to it. I'm gonna give you an example. I do this naturally, but someone recently told me that it was one of their favorite things about me when they first met. Um, this girl and we had a mutual friend, but she was, like, shaking hands with everyone. Like, I'm a hugger, right? But she was shaking hands with everyone she was meeting, so I didn't wanna, like, ambush her with a hug. Like, I don't know, like, people have boundaries. I don't, but some people do. And when I shook her hand, I didn't shake it with one hand. I sort of, like, shook her hand with my right hand, and then I also sort of, like, clasped my left hand over it, if that makes sense. So I was kinda holding her hand with both hands. And, like, obviously, if you have good manners and you're a normal fucking person, you are making eye contact and smiling while you do this. But literally months later when we were friends, she was like, "It literally made me feel so held and so, like, welcome." Not like we were meeting as a formality, but, like, you're actually genuinely happy that I'm here. And she described it as warm. She was like, "It was one of the first things I noticed about you is you're so warm." So I guess it's a little hard to describe, but I always kinda think back to that example when I'm trying to explain it to someone. Be warm. Number 4, be vulnerable. This is best, in my opinion, from turning an acquaintance into a friend. Obviously, there is such thing as oversharing, and I do this unintentionally all the time. LOL. Now, that can be a turnoff for some people. For me, I'm not amazing at boundaries myself, and I never really mind when people are super open with me, and it usually makes me feel closer to them. But definitely suss out the vibes before like really being open and vulnerable, because it does make some people feel uncomfortable. But by be vulnerable, I really mean, like, don't keep things to yourself when they come up in conversation. Like, I talk about the people I love and, like, that embarrassing thing I did last week, like, whatever it is, when it's relevant. I don't actively keep anything to myself, not because I have a big fucking mouth, which I do, but because those are the things that make people feel closer to each other. Like, those are the things that resonate. That's what can create connection, you know? I think this is a big part of why people who are shy have a hard time making friends in the first place. But then once they open up, they get super close to their friends, because being vulnerable takes relationships to the next level. And only the people who want to be close to you will match your energy. And then 5, this is the last one. And this is the key to it all. This is how I stayed friends with my couple from New Jersey and the Bahamas. Follow up. Don't just say, let's stay in touch. Don't just say, let's get lunch. Ask about dates that work for their schedule. Find available reservations. This is the thing that seals the deal. This is how I got closer with every single person I've ever met. We took our friendship outside of the place we met by inviting the other person somewhere different. Maddie, my trainer at the gym, we met at the gym. I invited her out to a bar with my friends, and both of us agree that's when we started to become friends and not just trainer-client. My friend Allie, who I met at Rumble, I told you the story of her inviting me to try a different workout with her. That's when we became friends. I don't remember almost anything about our relationship before that. Like, maybe we ran into each other at Rumble a bunch, but that is the moment we became friends. Other Allie, the one I met on the bachelorette party, we both worked from home. We were both, like, part-time influencers, part-time something else. So we, like, co-worked together, and then it turned into, like, getting dinner together. That's when we became friends, and not just like, oh, we have a friend in common. You have to take the friendship outside of the place you met, and the only way to do that We were only able to do those things because one of us was brave enough to risk rejection by following up and making a plan. So send the text, ask if 7:30 on Thursday is a good time for them. Offer the reservation at Anton's or the workout at Rumble or the Tuesday night book club. That is the only way you can take those friendships to the next level. Okay, you guys, reminder, share this episode with your friends. Organize that +1 dinner. I think it's so cool. Go to a workout, like do something with frequency, pick up a hobby and share this with your friends. Share this with anyone who you feel like could learn from it. And that's the episode. Thank you again, guys, from the bottom of my heart for giving Caps Lock a chance. I'm blown away by the numbers I'm seeing, by like how many of you are listening, all the DMs I'm getting. If you liked this episode, please stick around for more because we have some really fun topics on the docket. Protein powder, how to make a good first impression, the importance of recovery after a workout, friend breakups, how to run, like the right way to run, manifestation, cortisol, so much more. Some will be solo episodes and some will feature scientists, founders, experts, doctors, and other very cool, smart people. If there's a topic you want to hear about on Caps Lock, send me a message. And lastly, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads at Life in Caps Lock. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave me a rating or review. These are changing my life, and they are very important to podcasters. And tune in next Sunday at 8 a.m. for another episode of Caps Lock. Okay. Love you guys. Talk soon.